Good morning, tree climbers. This is Miss Erin and Mr. Brian reporting to you from Zach's Treehouse on Facebook Live on June 7th, 2020.
We're interrupting your current ClickList grocery order to bring you this week's news.
It's the first Sunday in June, and that means we have a new theme and a new life app for this month. Our new theme for June and July is Focus, Take a Closer Look.
And the new life app, Miss Erin, is Faith, trusting in what you can't see because of what you can see.
You've probably heard the word faith before. There are a lot of well-known phrases about faith that some people like to say all the time. For example, keep the faith.
Or this one, faith can move mountains.
That's right. Or how about this one? Take a blank of faith. A leap. Take a leap of faith.
Yeah. Of course, the best place to learn about faith is the Bible. We can't see God, but we do have His Word. Inside these pages, we can find stories of people who came before us, Miss Erin.
That's right. The author of Hebrews explained faith this way in chapter 12, verse 2. Faith is being sure of what we hope for. It is being sure of what we do not see. That's what the people of long ago were praised for.
You know what, Miss Erin? We can learn so much from the people throughout history who chose to have faith. After all, they too lived in a crazy world just like we do, but they still chose to trust and follow God.
That's right. In just a moment, I'm going to show you a wall of sticky notes, and there's a story in them that you won't be able to see at first. But the writer of Hebrews reminds us about some of the men and women in God's big story. People like Noah and Abraham, who couldn't see what God was doing. Check this out.
God told Abraham to move his entire family to a faraway land. Abraham was already getting old when God told him to move. At the time, Abraham and his wife Sarah didn't have any kids, but God told Abraham that that was about to change. He said, "Go from your country, your people, and your father's family. Go to the land I will show you. I will make you into a great nation, and I will bless you. All nations on earth will be blessed because of you." You see, God was planning to send Jesus as one of Abraham's great-great and more greats grandkids. Abraham had God's promise, but he still couldn't see the one God would send. Still, he trusted God. He left home, just like God told him. Because of Abraham's great faith, other people in his family would also go on to have great faith. People like Isaac, Jacob, and Joseph. They all chose to put their faith in God.
God also spoke to Moses from a burning bush. Even though Moses was raised by Pharaoh's daughter, he chose to stand with his own people against Pharaoh. He bravely led God's people, the Israelites, to freedom. You just heard about a few people that the writer of Hebrews included in his faithful list of people. The writer reveals a huge list of people who followed God by faith, so many in fact that the writer stops trying to list them. But we can't forget David, Israel's greatest king. God had promised David that he would be king, but he wasn't king yet. In fact, David spent years on the run from King Saul, fearing for his life. Still, he chose to trust God. He believed that God would keep his promise. Eventually, God did, and David became a great king. None of the people from the Old Testament could see with their eyes how God was going to save his people. Instead, they saw the way God worked in their lives, and they chose to believe his greater plan. They chose faith.
But here's where things get really interesting. We know today that God always had a plan to send Jesus to be our Savior. But out of all these people we talked about here, guess how many of those people actually saw God's plan come true? Any guesses? 0. Zilch. No one. In fact, in Hebrews 11, verses 39 to 40, it says, "All these people were praised because they had faith, but none of them received what God had promised." That's because God had planned something better for us. Did you catch that last part? It's that God had planned something better for us. God's plan includes all of us, all the way back to creation. You see, God always had a plan to send a rescuer, and at just the right moment, He sent His Son Jesus. Jesus showed us what God is like. He taught us the most important thing, to love God and love others. Then He died on a cross until God raised Him back to life. Because of Jesus' death and resurrection, anyone who follows Jesus can live with Him forever. We can follow Jesus even though we can't see Him.
Thank you, ladies. That was amazing. There are so many people who have faith in God all the way back to the beginning of creation.
Yes, they couldn't see the ending, and many of them didn't live to see Jesus come to earth, but they still trusted God along the way. They believed that God had a bigger plan, and when God sent Jesus, it became clear that Jesus was the Savior God had promised all along.
That's right. And remember, guys, faith is trusting in what you can't see because of what you can see. It's like we read in our memory verse. Faith is being sure of what we hope for. It is being sure of what we do not see.
You can have faith in Jesus even though you can't see Him. When you know how He has worked in others' lives, you can see how He was working in your life too. If you've never put your trust in Jesus and you'd like to, talk to an adult you trust.
And you know what our bottom line is today, Miss Erin?
Well,
You can know Jesus even though you've never seen Him.
no matter how you feel about putting your faith in Jesus, it's always good to talk to others who trusted Him. All of these things can help your own faith grow.
That's right, Miss Erin. I'm glad we're learning to focus on Jesus, and that's something we adults even need to work on. And by the way, guys, don't forget to sign up for Vacation Bible School. It's going to be amazing this year. And until then,
Stay safe, Sycamore Tree.